And here to wrap up day one of this sarcoma exchange is Nicole Jones. Nicole is the marketing director at the Anti-Cancer Lifestyle Program. The Anti-Cancer Lifestyle Program offers free tools, tips, and information to help you improve your diet, increase your fitness, decrease your stress, and reduce your exposure to harmful chemicals in your home environment. With over 15 years of experience, Nicole has led content strategy, go-to market campaigns, and successful partnerships for nonprofits and tech companies alike. Her work has appeared on CBS San Francisco, local NPR stations, Patagon Journal, and the Chicago Tribune. Today, she'll talk about how to implement the anti-cancer lifestyle. Nicole, we're really happy to have you here, and you can get going. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much for having me. Delighted to be here, and I'm going to go ahead and start my screen share. Can we see that okay?
Yes.
Yes. Very good. All right. Well, once again, thank you so much for that intro, and to Sarcoma Alliance for welcoming the Anti-Cancer Lifestyle Program. I'm Nicole Jones, and today we're going to talk about some practical strategies, some practical anti-cancer living strategies that are designed to reduce cancer risk recurrence. So whether you're a survivor or currently undergoing treatment or supporting a loved one, this brief session, there's a lot to cover, but we'll give you some high-level things. We'll offer you evidence-based tools to take control of your health. So we'll focus on some lifestyle changes that matter and some specific actions that you can do when you leave the session to reduce your cancer risk. So first, a little bit about who we are. We are a nonprofit, and we were founded in 2011 by a team of medical professionals who saw the need for a comprehensive evidence-based program for cancer survivors. And our goal was simple: to provide real answers to this overwhelming question that many people face after a cancer diagnosis. This question, what do I do now? We know, of course, receiving a cancer diagnosis can be overwhelming, and this question of what do I do now is one that we hear often. Our free program, and I will say that often, it's a free program, was designed to address this uncertainty, giving survivors concrete steps that they can take to regain a sense of control over their health, backed by science and expert guidance. Since our creation, we've served over 100,000 participants in more than 123 countries worldwide. Part of that expansion is making sure that we're able to be accessible to as many as possible. We have translated about 10 of our ebooks now. We have almost, 30 ebooks total, and we have translated 10 of them, and we hope to do more things translated. Our entire website is accessible in multiple languages, and we know that this need is real, and not just translation, but making sure that our content is culturally relevant as well. So something that really sets Anti-Cancer Lifestyle apart is the scientific rigor that's behind the program. That's not just another wellness trend. We know there is a lot of snake oil out there, and it's overwhelming when you're trying to look for real information. But this program, it's backed by experts. Everything we do is powered by evidence, and leading medical professionals continually support and recommend this program because they've seen the positive impact it's had on their patients' lives. So this includes things like dietary recommendations, fitness, mindset, environmental changes. And in this case, we're talking about exposure to toxic chemicals. These are strategies that we have shared to give survivors some real and research-backed tools to reduce cancer risk and just live healthier, more well lives. So as we continue to learn more about cancer, one fact becomes increasingly clear: that lifestyle plays a major role in both cancer development and recurrence. In fact, nearly 40% of cancers are linked to lifestyle behaviors, and this is according to the American Cancer Society. And this stat tells us something powerful: that the choices we make every day, from what we eat to how much we move to what we're exposed to in our environment, can have a profound impact on our long-term health. Dr. Lorenzo Cohen, he's a renowned expert in integrative cancer care at MD Anderson, and he captured this idea perfectly when he said, "We can't treat or screen our way out of this cancer epidemic. It's a sobering but also motivating realization that prevention has to be part of the solution along with everything else. And the exciting part is that prevention is something that we can all take action on starting today. So that's why we're here, is to equip you with this knowledge and tools to make small, meaningful lifestyle changes that will significantly impact your health. So we're going to talk about what some of those things look like. And before we get there, just to note, we know that cancer is a complex disease. And while we may not always know exactly why someone receives a diagnosis, we do know that there are powerful steps that we can take. So we focus on four key areas in our program: mindset, diet, fitness, and the environment. And you'll hear this over and over again. We really do strive to make small, consistent changes to make or lead to big results. So, whether it's improving your diet with more plant based whole foods, finding ways to reduce stress, incorporating more movement into your daily routine, or making simple swaps and seeing what's in your medicine cabinet to lower your exposure to harmful toxic chemicals. There are so many different things that you can do. And we really try to bring the temperature down to make sure it feels sustainable and things that you can actually achieve to support your overall health. And, again, we'll say this again, is that you don't have to make all these changes at once. That is how we created our program, is to make sure that it is digestible and can guide you through some practical steps to move forward. And we're going to talk about some content that we offer. Again, everything we offer is free, from courses to ebooks to webinars, is at your disposal. And before we get there, we're going to talk a little bit about what we talk about in our program in these four areas. So we're going to start with diet. We know that this is one of the most impactful areas in prevention. The average American consumes about 130 pounds of sugar per year, which is over a third a pound of sugar every single day. And this level of sugar consumption, it's concerning because studies have shown that high sugar intake is directly linked to an increased risk of cancer, such as breast and colorectal cancer. And what makes it more challenging is that 80% of packaged foods contain added sugar. So it's easier to consume far more than we realize. Now, if we contrast that with the benefits of a plant-based diet, which I think a lot of us have heard about and see that there's more and more research showing the benefits. We know that diets in these whole foods, these fruits, vegetables, and fiber, can offer protective benefits by providing essential antioxidants and phytochemicals that can combat cell damage and inflammation. And fiber, in particular, supports a healthy gut microbiome, which plays a growing role in cancer prevention. So the other side of this coin is processed foods. More and more research showing that diets high in processed foods, especially those with those added sugars and unhealthy fats, can contribute to inflammation, which is a key driver in cancer progression. But if we can focus more on these whole plant-based foods and reducing processed foods, you can lower inflammation and improve your overall health, reducing your cancer risk in the process. Again, these are small adjustments that we're going to talk about here on our next slide. So diet, we have keys for each of the areas, which really bring all of our program together in terms of the key points that we keep coming back to. So we're going to talk about our 5 diet keys that can help you make better choices day to day. So first, we emphasize a plant-based diet, right? Fruits, vegetables, whole grains, foods that are rich in antioxidants and fiber. And when it comes to animal food, the goal is to limit their consumption and thinking of meat as a condiment rather than a main part of your meal. Some people choose to forego completely, and you have to make the decision that's best for you. And of course, discussing this with your medical and healthcare provider. But again, it all comes back to research that's showing limiting animal foods can help to lower inflammation. If you do choose meat, opting for organic grass-fed meats, and this is because they're higher in omega-3 fatty acids and they're free from those harmful chemicals found in conventional meats. Another key thing we like to focus on with our diet program, our diet module, is to choose local and organic foods when possible. So local produce tends to be fresher, and organic foods are free from synthetic pesticides. Next, we recommend reducing added sugar and adding whole grains like quinoa, oats, brown rice. There's just so many different types of whole grains out there, and it's fun because you get to be creative with things you can experiment with. And I should say too that we have an extensive recipe collection on our website, all free, all accessible, and some really cool takes of sometimes some traditional things that are healthier, our anti-cancer alternatives, from a comforting plant-based mac and cheese to all kinds of smoothies, and not just salads, thinking about creative things and things that feel nourishing and whole. So please check that out. And then the last key here, just the importance of planning, cooking, and enjoying your meals. We just had a fantastic webinar with our registered dietitian about break free from dieting and how to thrive with intuitive eating, really cluing into what your body is saying it needs is such an important part too of diet, not just calories in, calories out. It's so much more than that, of listening to your body to make sure that you're sustaining it with the foods that you want. And often in doing this, you find that it's less likely for you to reach for those processed foods in the long run. So it's really, we try to emphasize that this is not about restrictive eating. It's really about making sustainable, enjoyable changes that can have a big impact on your health. All right, so now we're going to dive in to our second tenet here, the role of physical activity. So research shows that walking as little as 2,000 steps a day can reduce your cancer risk by 10%. That might seem like a small number, but it's an achievable goal for many people, and the benefits increase the more you move. In fact, the peak comes at 10,000 steps a day, which doesn't just reduce cancer risk, but also lowers your risk of heart disease and other chronic illnesses. And I will say, everything here that we're talking about, again, being evidence-based, is applicable not just to reducing cancer risk, but also to reducing other chronic illnesses as well. So physical activity. How does it reduce cancer risk? Well, first and foremost, it can help lower inflammation, which is a major contributor to cancer development. When we move regularly, it boosts immune function and helps your body to better identify and fight off potential cancer cells. So another critical factor here is weight management. Studies show that maintaining a healthy weight is essential because obesity is linked to 13 different types of cancer, including breast, colon, and pancreatic. Physical activity is one of the most effective ways to prevent weight gain or manage a healthy weight if that is your goal. And yes, the key here is just consistency, and even small amounts of regular movement can make a big difference over time. So whether you're starting with 2,000 steps or building up to 10,000, every step matters. And looking at our fitness pyramid here, it's important to show that movement looks like a lot of different things. If you have more restricted movement, there are different things that you can do to, increase blood flow, support your lymph. There are lots of different things when we start with this pyramid, including activities of daily living, which absolutely counts toward movement. So this includes things like, yes, walking, but also doing housework and taking the stairs, even standing during phone calls. And these activities, which are at the bottom of the pyramid, should be done as much as possible throughout the day. They really form that foundation of your physical activity and keep your body moving. So next we move into cardio. The recommendation is to aim for at least 150 minutes of moderate intensity exercise. So this could be things like brisk walking or biking. You could do more vigorous if that is something that is okay for you and something that you have cleared with your healthcare provider. And then further up, we have strength training and flexibility exercise, right? We know that this is an important part of making sure that you're able to connect with all kinds of movement. And then at the top of the pyramid, which, it sometimes gets underlooked, but the neuromotor activities. Now, this includes things like yoga, Tai Chi, Qigong, to focus on balance and coordination. And then at the very tip of the pyramid is reserved for limited activities. That's things like sitting at your computer, watching TV, trying to keep these to a minimum as much as possible. But really, the key takeaway here is to try to balance all types of movement throughout the week to build a comprehensive healthy fitness routine. And again, our program, whether you're trying to just start somewhere, we've got a kickstart, a 7-day kickstart with 15 minutes of content a day that gets sent straight to your email. You'll get little exercises to do, or things to read about so that you can be more informed about how to make this a practical approach and how to really incorporate this into your own life. So we'll talk about those resources in just a bit here. So we're going to get on to a more unique part of our program is talking about the role of environmental toxic chemicals and cancer risk. There are over 85,000 human-made chemicals in use today, and many of these chemicals are known carcinogens, endocrine disruptors, or agents that can cause DNA damage. And they're present in just about everything, things that we use all the time, often without realizing, causing harm. They're found in household products and food packaging and cosmetics, in the air we breathe, even the water we drink. And we're exposed, every day to a cocktail of chemicals that can accumulate in our bodies over time. It is serious and it can be really overwhelming when people are first learning about this because it almost feels like there's not much I can do. It's everywhere, right? These products are on the shelf, but we can become empowered consumers. And there is just a plethora of tools to help you become a more informed consumer. And so we're going to talk about our keys in just a moment here. But yes, can't stress this enough that the chemicals are in everyday common things. And even though, you would say, oh, well, why are they selling them? Why aren't they banned? Why aren't they banned? There's a lot of chemicals that are okay in the United States, even Canada, but are currently banned in the EU, for example, because of this massive amount of data that is showing that there is harm in this. So what can we do, right? We want to turn the temperature down. And yes, it feels overwhelming in terms of where to start, but there are some key strategies that you can incorporate to make a big difference. So first is reading labels and knowing your ingredients, right? Many products on the market contain hazardous chemicals. So when you're selecting products, take your time to select fewer hazardous ingredients. And I would say the big thing is look for fragrances. Almost just about all the time, you will find that that is just a cocktail of chemicals that is all contained within that word fragrance. And I'm gonna share with you on another side here some tools that you can use, like barcode scanners when you're out shopping, let's say for shampoo or deodorant, that you can see which of these items maybe would be better for you to put back on the shelf, and then what are some safer alternatives that you can use. And you want to be cautious of claims like natural. It can be misleading, that term natural. Sometimes there is some greenwashing involved in that marketing. And then, of course, ingredients listed in all capital letters are often industrial chemicals. So I think we all know, right, just to be mindful of that. So another tenet here is keeping your air clean. We know that indoor air pollution can be just as harmful as outdoor air. So of course, limiting sources of indoor smoke, but also candles. We have a blog post all about candles, and we're getting into holiday season here. We love to light candles, and they can really release quite a toxic load for our bodies to intake. So it's on our website. I included a link to our website in the chat. And if you search in our search bar, we have a great search tool. If you search for candles, it will come right up and you can learn more about that, and also alternatives. We'll say everything we do, if we're going to tell you about a harm, we try to give as much as possible alternatives and other things that you can do. So back to candles, indoor air, other things that you can do to improve your indoor air include wet mopping the floors, using HEPA filters, and this one, removing shoes indoors. I know it could be a touchy subject for many people, right? To tell people remove shoes when you come inside the house. Maybe you already do this, but we know that they track in a lot of dust and chemicals into your home. There's studies about this. We have a blog post about it too. And yeah, just avoiding scented products. So, things like Febreze, while tempting, it has just a lot of chemicals in there that you do not want to be breathing in. I think some other things that might be maybe more that more people are aware about is just the use of plastic and petroleum-based byproducts, which are endocrine disrupting chemicals or contain endocrine disrupting chemicals. Instead, especially in cookware, right? Trying to swap out plastic Tupperware and using glass or ceramic instead. And saying, looking at your cookware, we have lots of resources about cookware and how to select good cookware, not nonstick Teflon cookware, but good cookware like stainless steel, for example, that are going to be a much safer alternative. And the last thing here is just less is more. Less is more. Using fewer products with simpler ingredients helps to minimize your exposure to harmful chemicals, and just taking the time to evaluate, do I really need that thing? And going from there. So here are some useful tools. I know you'll get a link to this slide deck here. They should all be clickable. So things like the Environmental Working Group has a range of different tools like Skin Deep, Healthy Cleaners, and the Healthy Living app. There's also Yuka and Clearia, which specifically those have barcode scanners to scan your items while you're shopping to see the ingredients and determine if they are harmful, then what are some good alternatives. I use these tools all the time, and I promise they will be your new best friend that you'll be searching for often on your mobile device. Okay, our last tenet here is mindset and the role of mindset in reducing cancer risk. So research shows chronic stress can lead to increased inflammation in the body. And one of the most effective ways to manage that stress is through mindfulness practices. And this includes things like mindful breathing, meditation, and compassion focused exercises. This has been shown to lower cortisol levels and the hormone associated with stress and to reduce overall inflammation in the body. And when inflammation is reduced, your immune system functions more efficiently, helping it detect and fight off cancerous cells. So yeah, there's a lot of researcher based off this, specifically mindfulness-based stress reduction, which shows it helps improve immune function and also reduce those inflammatory markers, which are just critical in lowering cancer risk. So our 5 keys here with mindset. First, pausing and taking 3 conscious breaths often. It's so simple. One of the most powerful mindfulness techniques, just taking a few moments, maybe every hour, maybe you have some kind of mindfulness spell, maybe starting your day or ending your day, to focus on slow, deep breathing. So maybe if we can just try this quickly now to do a couple, we'll do 3 deep breaths. So inhale and out. In and out. Just one more. In and out. Right there. I feel myself calm again. It's so simple and something that we have access to at any time in the day. It's just so easy to forget that it's there for us. Another thing is practicing silence daily, just each day finding some time to be in complete silence. It doesn't have to be for a long period, even just a few minutes will do, just a chance to quiet your mind down and to be more focused and present. This third one, observing compassionately and non-judgmentally. This is important for both yourself and others, and it means practicing kindness towards your thoughts and actions without harsh judgment. We know that is easier said than done. Number 4, experience activities mindfully. So no matter what you're doing, gardening, walking, washing the dishes, bringing your full awareness to that activity brings clarity, and it just helps to reduce some of that mental clutter that can lead to stress. And the last one here, success is in the practice, right? It's not about changing your external experiences, it's changing the way you experience them. And the key to success here is consistency. So the more you practice, the more natural it becomes. And over time, you'll notice that stress level start to decrease. So there they are. And that is the key for all 4 of these pillars here: improving your diet, feel more fit, reduce your toxic exposure, and lowering your stress. It's about the synergies between these 4 areas, this whole person care. and not just about making improvements in one area. Although that's often where we start, and that is fantastic. We have to start somewhere because we know that then that will help to support these other areas. But in the end, it's really about how these four things work together to create a lifestyle that works in harmony to reduce your overall cancer risk and just feel better and support long-term well-being. So the goal here is progress. It's not perfection, and you don't have to change it all at once. Start small, focus on one area, whether that's adding more veggies to your diet. You know, saying each meal, I'm going to make sure I get a serving of vegetables, or walking extra 10 minutes a day, saying I'm going to make sure, you know, in between meetings, or I'm going to park a little bit further away from going into the grocery store to get in some more steps, or reducing toxic chemicals, saying, hey, you know, I don't have to throw out everything at home right now. Like, it's okay, but maybe when I run out of shampoo or conditioner, I'm going to look at some other alternatives for next time. That's what we're talking about here. So as you get comfortable, you build momentum, right? Everything, it's about momentum and starting to make changes in other areas. And the key here is to keep moving forward one step at a time. And Anti-Cancer Lifestyle, we're here to support you along the way with free resources, whether it's our Kickstart programs, webinars, ebooks. Focus on progress, the results will follow. So again, we know this is overwhelming. It's a lot of information to take in, and maybe you already are an expert in one area like fitness, but you know, you're realizing, oh, I could do more to lower my stress. Well, you can jump in really at any point, whether it's our online course, which is a virtual self-guided, it's 9 hours, a little over 9 hour program, and you can do it at your own pace, and it covers all areas that we just talked about. But of course, it goes much more in depth. We also have lots of beautiful ebooks. It's another way to digest. You can read them on your device, or sometimes people like to print them, on a range of topics. Again, everything we do is created by subject matter experts and reviewed by medical professionals. We also have a collection of webinars where you can learn from health professionals and get answers to your questions. Our next webinar, so we just did one on Break Free from Dieting, how to thrive with intuitive eating. And we have all of our webinars, every single webinar that we've done is available on our website for free. You can view the replay. You just have to enter your name and email. That's all we ask for, so that we can add you to our newsletter. And our next one is all about toxic textiles. Fascinating topic, but understanding some of the harmful chemicals that are in the clothes we wear, linens, and how to just choose safer options. So that's our next webinar. It's happening October 15th. It's everything's on our website. You'll probably see it at the top of our alert bar when you go to our website. And then we also have blogs and recipes. Our recipes are so tasty. Uh, I always go there first when I'm like looking for ideas. The variety is amazing. We have sweet things too. We have this amazing chocolate cake. We have this upside down cherry cake. You know, doing it with using like natural sugars is always our key for some of the sweet things. But please check out our recipe list, and your taste buds will thank you. And then our 7-day kickstarts. This is a newer program that we've offered. We have 4 of them on the diet, on fitness, on mindset, on environment. And you just sign up with your email, and then for 1 week, you're going to get an email every single day that will give you about 15 minutes of daily tasks, bite-sized steps to make it easy to start making progress without feeling overwhelmed. So no matter where you are in your journey, these resources, they're designed to meet you where you are, and we're here to help you take that next step to making you feel better and just taking steps for your overall well-being. So thank you so much for joining me, and I hope you feel empowered with this practical toolkit that we have to take control of your health and reduce cancer risk and just feel better. So every step you take, it makes progress is more important than that perfection piece. So please don't hesitate to reach out. We have our email here, info@anticancerlifestyle.org. I'm also going to include my email, nicole@anticancerlifestyle.org, in the chat. I'm not a medical professional or healthcare professional. I've been in this world for a long time, so I'm happy to take questions. And if I can't answer, I will be sure to find someone who can. So thank you for listening, and to the Sarcoma Alliance for having me be part of this.
Hey, thank you, Nicole. I think there was one question. Let's see. There was one about essential oils, and if you have any insight there on essential oils.
Yes. Yes. So we don't, unfortunately, I know I used to love essential oils and I still use them in very small doses, but they end up being mixed. Even if you find some brands that are, they say that, they're pure and they're sourced well, it's still a volatile organic compound that you're breathing in, and it's just causing stress to your respiratory system. So we advise against essential oils. We actually have a blog about essential oils and why we don't recommend them. But I know some people have to have them. And so it's about finding the right balance for you.